All right, he's competed. He's a second-degree black belt. He's an instructor at Anchorage Grappling Academy. It's Stephen Saccone.
I like the setup.
Yeah, it's nice and intimate, nice and close quarters.
Nice little.
Thanks for the recommendation on the lights, by the way.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, they're really
good.
nice, especially for such a steal on Amazon. So couldn't beat it. Yeah, so,
those ones are nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
Busy day today?
Always, right?
Yeah.
Like,
what do you
weekends
guys,
are busy.
Is it? You're just saving up all the projects for the weekends?
Well, yeah. So just kid stuff like constant. I mean, you know how it is. Like it's like with the boy and just as far as like my work goes, like, me and my wife both work the entire week.
Yeah.
So anything that we have to get done needs to get done within, between Friday night and today. So
yeah. What do you do for work?
I work for GCI, as a systems administrator.
Nice.
So work from home. Just
is it always from home?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Was that just during did it start during COVID, or was it home before?
They started a few years ago as completely work from home. They switched their workforce to nearly all work from home.
Yeah.
There's still offices to work in.
Yeah.
Like they have places you can go to.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it just like an option though, like personal preference?
Yeah.
Do you ever take advantage of that?
A little bit. And there's we do business continuity exercises where once a month we'll all go in to just for our team.
Yeah.
Business technical support is the team that I work for.
Yeah.
And it's
They're probably just like, you guys need to come in
and we all see each other and
take advantage of this office we're paying for, please.
Yeah. They built a new office area with like hotel. It kind of looks like a Google office, if you've ever seen a Google office,
nice.
with like bubble rooms and bubble room for you to do calls, bubble room to do meetings, and it's like a hotel desk seating and stuff.
Yeah. Where's that at?
That one's on Bragaw, I think.
Oh, really?
It's called Base Camp. Yeah, I think it's on Bragaw. And it's right over by where kind of the ADN, or not ADN, but there's a newspaper facility right there.
Closer to like
Costco.
the old Costco and stuff.
Yeah, right around there.
Is it still Costco?
Yeah, Costco's still there on Bragaw.
Oh, yeah, the one right on the corner.
Yeah.
I think I'm thinking of what used to be like down by Burger King off like Airport Heights. Because ADN's is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Farther down, there's like that big
now
building
it's like a
that's
minerals
empty
place
now.
or something. Yeah.
What's that huge building that's empty?
Yeah. But it used to be like or at one point it was like an environmental mineral place or something. I could be making that up.
Yeah, that one I don't know.
Yeah, we'll just go with it.
Yeah.
So working from home, do you feel like you have to be pretty like self-motivated, right? Like to keep yourself busy and all that? Like
yes. So
you fit that
I think that work from home does fit some people,
especially with kids,
you get a lot of time back in your day, if I'm working from home and nothing's going on for a little bit, chores can get done, things around the house can get done, so you gain time back from your day.
Do you think it'd be different if the kid was in school? Because he's not in school right now, right?
No, he's 2. He just turned 2. So
if he was in school and you're just sitting home by yourself, I feel like the self-motivation would go away.
Well, for me personally, I can do that. I can do that kind of stuff, and my work environment is very collaborative. So there's constant I'm talking to my coworkers and my boss and my other boss and all day long over Teams chat and through our messaging system. So it's very as long as you have that collaboration, I think you can.
You're not just sitting there by yourself.
Yeah, if you're just sitting there by yourself, like coding or something, that I could see being really tedious.
Because I got into real estate down in Florida, and it was kind of it's all from home for the most part. We didn't have an office to go to where I was there. When we got back here, I got on board with a place that did have an office, but even then, it's kind of all the way across town, and I'd go in for a weekly meeting or training or something, but for the most part, it was all just sitting here and trying to figure out what to do. So for me, and all my kids are in school, so it's just me sitting at home by myself, and if like I had the kids at home, like I'd be motivated to be like, all right, I need to do something to get away from you guys. But like it's just me. I was like, I could just turn on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Like I could do this on my computer real quick and then do nothing though. So yeah, with the kids at home, like I feel like I'd be way more motivated. But since they're not, like I'm just a lazy bum the whole time. So obviously it didn't go well for me.
I could feel that. Like when Dio's in school, like it might be a different thing when I have a bunch more time. I mean, right now he's home with both of us home, so we're kind of like constantly watching him too throughout the day.
Yeah,
because we don't have daycare. Yeah. So it's kind of
for good reason. Daycare's outrageous,
dude. It is so expensive up here. Like there's definitely like a childcare crisis now after COVID. Yeah. After COVID, when they fired all of the people who were doing childcare, because no daycares.
Everyone's
anywhere.
At home. Why would
people
you
shut down their practices? Yeah, they shut down their daycares.
Yeah,
and now there's a huge wait list, and it costs $1,000+ a month to have a kid in daycare for a part time for like less than 4 hours a day.
Yeah, so. We at one point, this was a while ago, like when our kids first got into like. Well, I guess when they weren't even in school yet, or at least most of them or two of them. But the big thing was when summer came and all four were at home, it was like impossible because to have two parents working. So at the time, like one parent had to stop their job. So my wife ended up, stopping her job just because at the time I made more. So she stayed home and was like just an at-home parent. And then COVID made it even worse because then all the kids were kind of home anyway doing like the online classes. And so like at one point she had all four kids at home and then I was just working the whole time. But in Florida it switched. I stayed home and then she started her new career.
Right.
And now it's still like that. Now I just stay home the whole time and it's miserable. So I need to find something to do. So, but
you'll get there.
I'm hoping. Like right now we're waiting for the Fire Academy to open up. I guess they got like a grant because like a bunch of people are retiring and they're just kind of in need of help. So in June, I believe is what I heard, they're supposed to put out like an application, like the opening again, and then hopefully I can apply for that, and then cross my fingers.
Do you know Brady from used to train at AGA?
Yeah, military guy, right?
Yeah. He's out of the military now, but he works for Airport Police and Fire. And Tristan used to work for Airport Police and Fire.
She used to work for the Airport Police.
Yes.
It's all one thing, though?
It's all one thing. Okay. So you do fire and you do police.
Nice.
So it's like you split your time between the two.
So Bobby's
very good job. Like if you're the kind of person who can do that, like 12-hour shift, like stuff, very good job.
Yeah. What's the schedule on that?
It depends, I think. Like 6 to 6, I think, is usually like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
3 days a week with a rotating fourth day. So you have you always have 3 days off a week, but you'll have 4 days off every other week, right?
Nice. I'll look into that. So Bobby was actually telling me, because like right now it's like the Fire Academy is like the goal. And then if I don't get into that, then I'll get my EMT and add that to the resume to hopefully get on in the Fire Academy that's going to come in like October, November. But then she was also telling me, like, have you thought about the Airport Police / Fire? And because, like, she knows Tristan did it, and then I think she applied for it at one point. I don't remember what happened there. But, like, that would be maybe something to look into, too. So I'll look into it and see. Yeah. But just trying to figure out something new to do. And what I don't want to do is, like, I spent my whole life my whole adult life anyway, dedicated to one company. And then getting out of that company, like, I have no other skills at the moment.
Yes,
like I need to, and I don't want to jump into like just a job. Like I need to find like another career, like mid-30s. Like it's, I was already settled into like the good career that took care of everything.
Right.
So now it's like starting all over.
Definitely faced that crisis. Like when I was turning like 30, or just turning 30, 31.
Yeah.
And I had worked at a bar for most of my 20s. I was working as a bartender. In a few different places in town. I worked at the Gaslight, worked at the Peanut Farm. I worked at the Rum Runners when it opened up, reopened up. It's already closed again. But it reopened up, and then a bunch of stuff happened, and it closed again. And then, so I worked at a lot of different bars around town, and then the money was great, but like we were saying, like there's no career.
What's the end game in bartending, right?
So like I went back to school, like I moved back into my mom's place and lived in her basement, upstairs, and went back to school for 2 years to get a 2-year degree when I was like 30.
Yeah.
And so I got my computer networking technology degree, certified in a few different certifications, and then immediately applied like as I was getting out of school, and got a pretty sweet job right out of school at the hospital for a clinic that's in the hospital. I was working IT for a clinic in the hospital. And then I had been doing that for almost 5 years. And then this year in January, I had just switched over to GCI to work for GCI here.
Okay. Nice. Do you like it now?
It's amazing. Like,
yeah.
It's way like better than my last job.
The one at the hospital, did you like that? Or
I did like it a lot. My boss is super cool. Yeah. But there's a lot of there were some ownership changes with the clinic. Yeah. So it was originally 5 doctors who owned it, dropped down to 3 doctors because 2 bought out, and then it was dropping down to 1 doctor. And she was making a lot of sweeping changes as she was coming in, and just kind of like making a lot of weird decisions. And my direct boss, who was doing all the IT there, was leaving. Like, he was done. He's kind of toast from like a few years of mismanagement and just like and he's the son of the doctor who started the clinic, so was my boss. And so he was leaving, and so I was like, well, I need to get out of here because I don't know who's going to be coming in as my new superior.
The old boss is like the buffer between you and everybody.
Well, yes. Well, I was actually the buffer between him and everybody because I was in office and he was usually not in office. So I was usually the one like doing the direct, like talking to people. But so he was leaving, and so he put in his contract dismissal for it was 45 days. So that's 45 days for contract dismissal.
Yeah.
And so he put in his contract dismissal, and he applied for a job at GCI and got it. And so then I applied that month as well, and my start date ended up being like a week before him at GCI. Nice. So we're both actually working for GCI now.
Okay. Which like is the same position funny. Or
he's a senior administrator at GCI, which is boring technical stuff, but he's basically a core engineer. He works on like the core of the networks at GCI. And I work for business technical support. So we're in different departments, but it's very fluid over at GCI. It's a very like moving around company, promote from within. So it's
And how old are you now?
37.
Okay, so you've been doing what you're doing now for like
5 years.
Oh, okay.
I did 2 year. I was 30, 2-year degree. As I was leaving that 2-year degree, I got my previous job. Did that for 5 years, and then just this January I was over at GCI. So
okay. And then how old were you when you got into jiu-jitsu?
I was 24. Nope, 22. I was 22.
Where'd you start out at?
I was at the old ABJJ that was over behind Moose's Tooth.
Yeah, it's like back by that frontage road, right? Well, not even a frontage road, it's Old Stewart, right? Like the end of it, or 34th.
Yeah, the Moose's Tooth area is there, and then there's a plaza that's directly behind it with like the sushi is there, and then just like what else was back there? Some other stuff was back there, and then they had like a single unit right next to sushi there. So
and then was it always just ABJJ, or Ryder said they were kind of combined with somebody at one point? I think I might have made that up too. It's a pattern going on. Make these up.
I'm not sure. I think maybe they had originally they teamed with the Wolfpack fight team.
Yeah. With like Kevin Barber
and those guys.
When I first was trying to get into jiu-jitsu, like I ended up at Frontier Valley Tudo with Danny Malin. Yeah. But like I looked into, I might have like looked into Gracie Baja, but I looked into them. I just remember that place behind there. But the thing with them, like, and I wanted to get into not even just jiu-jitsu, it was just MMA at the time. But you had to like try out for the team and like go through like kind of Kevin Barber is like what I heard or like how it played out. And at the time I just didn't like the whole feeling of it. It seemed kind of weird.
I was never in MMA really, so
no. Like, do you watch it now or anything like that?
A little bit, highlights.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember actually how I ended up training at ABJJ. Is like I was wrestling in high school. I wrestled for like 5 years through middle school and high school.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm I don't go to the gym to lift or anything. I have no motivation to do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I should do something that's kind of like this. And I had seen MMA, and I was like, they do that Brazilian jiu-jitsu thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, Anchorage Brazilian jiu-jitsu schools. That was the first one. I was like, well, I guess I'll go try this.
Get enough for me.
And so I went there, and then just never stopped going.
Yeah. Who was the like head instructor or owner at the time?
Justin Sharon.
Okay.
Was the owner.
Yeah.
Who was over there?
Yeah.
Originally, like, it was him, Todd, and Ryder, who had
and they branched off,
Gracie
right?
Baja.
Yeah. And then they branched off, opened that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so once you started going, obviously, like, you were like just a fresh white belt in your 20s, you said, right?
22. Yeah.
22. Like once you got in, like, obviously, like, you were interested in it, but like once you got in, you were just hooked. Like, that was it.
Yeah, for me, it triggered that same kind of workouts that wrestling did.
Yeah.
Like, where you can work out pretty much as hard as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And be like exhausted at the end of it, and then be like, and get that feeling of that endorphin rush. You get that that feeling that doesn't really come from a lot of the other working out.
Yeah.
Like lifting, there's a certain feeling it's hard to replicate in lifting. Is other running, you get that feeling sometimes if you're like you've been running for 30 minutes hard, and then like
I would never know that.
I've felt it a little bit running.
Yeah.
I get it maybe a little bit. Like I've been swimming lately, but swimming usually just like my breath pulls out of me too fast to get that feeling, but I'll get that feeling a little bit swimming.
Yeah. Where do you swim at?
Alaska Club.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's just a membership there.
Yeah. Well, me and my wife do for their family plan, because like you can just like, here you go, like to the kid, like off to the
they got a nice little play area, right?
Super nice play area.
Nice.
In the Eagle River Alaska Club, and it's like 100 yards from my house, so we'll just
nice.
We'll just run over there.
Nice. Do you get him into like swimming and stuff like that too?
We'll bring him into the swimming class, like the swimming area. They have like a kids swimming area.
Yeah.
So we'll have him over there, and then I'll do laps. Tristan will watch him, and then I'll bring him into the big pool.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like still scared of the so I'll just have him like here, just swimming around.
Yeah.
Like try to get him into it.
Yeah. So, and you did start out in wrestling in middle school and high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was it just like 7th grade year in middle school?
It was 7th and 8th in middle school.
Yeah.
Like I was at Mirror Lake. And then in high school as well.
Did you wrestle all the way through senior year, or you didn't wrestle one year?
I wrestled
all 4 years of high school.
All 4 years, yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that's 6 years.
Yeah. What made you get into wrestling?
That's a good question. I don't remember why I actually got into
That means
wrestling.
it was your parents made you.
Maybe. Like, or, no, I don't think so. I think it was like that same thing. I wanted to try something.
Yeah.
Like an individual sport.
Yeah. Were you ever into team sports?
Yeah. So I was doing soccer, like, since I was probably like 5-ish, like, was doing soccer. Wow. And so, but I think team sports, it's too easy to disappear into the team aspect.
Especially if you want to, like, all you have to do is take that step back.
That's right.
The coaches call people in, you just take the step back, someone else goes in.
That's right. You have 11 people on the team or whatever, like whatever team sport you're doing. And it's so easy to just kind of disappear into the crowd of thing. And then it's like, you're not really exerting yourself at any time, so it's kind of like keeping into the rhythm of a game. For me, it just never happened. So soccer never clicked for me. I played football 2 years in high school, but that still, same thing, unless I was playing like every down, never really like kept up that. Like,
where'd you go to high school at?
Shugiak High School.
Okay. Have you always lived out there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I in between Anchorage and Eagle River.
Okay. And then, what positions did you play in football?
I was playing a lineman and a linebacker on defense, and then I was like fullback, running back.
Did you play like a defensive end on the line?
No, just straight on the line.
Oh, really?
Midline.
Nice. You seem kind of like a smaller guy to.
I was basically this size in high school, so like it was 170 to 180, like at the line, and quicker.
Yeah.
So
nice. All right, and then so let's get back into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So the head instructor, you said, was Justin at the time. He teaching like every class? You go to like specific classes?
So it was kind of split between them around when I started, Justin would teach in the evenings. Ryder would teach some nights. I think Justin had probably like 3 nights of the week that he was doing it.
And then when you got into it, because I think when Ryder went over there, he said he was a blue belt. At the time that you started out, do you remember like where he was in that whole path?
I think he was just about to get his purple belts, like when I started.
But it was so long ago, like a blue belt could be teaching. Like it wouldn't. Does it seem like it'd be out of the ordinary? Like
no, it wasn't. And he was like one of the. I mean, he was like the highest rank besides Justin and Todd, basically. Yeah. So
I felt because when, like, I didn't really get started back into jiu-jitsu until, probably like 2017. Mm-hmm. So like obviously like jiu-jitsu was already kind of like taken off, and like it was pretty big around. Like there was Legacy, there was ABJJ. Actually, that was probably about it at the time. So there's 2 places, but I think as far as like mainstream goes, it wasn't much behind where it is right now. And in the morning class, like I started in morning classes, like I've always pretty much just gone to morning classes, except when we went to Florida, like we switched it up a little bit, and kind of jumped in here and there, like some noons and evenings, but never went to morning class there just because the turnout and the atmosphere there. But at one point, and I was at blue belt, I think like an early blue belt, like I was teaching the morning classes. Mm-hmm. And for me, I was like, I should not be doing this. Like, there's so much better people. But like at the time, like I think I was just there the longest at the time. And then it was mostly like maybe a couple other blue belts and then a bunch of white belts. So it was just like what we had going at the moment. Mm-hmm. But like looking back now, like if I was to walk into a class and it was like a blue belt teaching, especially like if I'm like, mid 20s or like early 30s, I'm like, I don't think this is the place for me.
I think the atmosphere and the like that aspect has changed probably in the past 10 years or so. Like I mean, what year did you start jiu-jitsu? Do you remember?
17 when I really started. I got into it back in 2008 though, and that was more just kind of like for MMA, and like I didn't put on a gi until 2017. So I did like mostly like no gi and like Valley Tudo stuff, so like a little bit of mix of everything. But yeah, I didn't really get into it and put a gi on and take it serious until 17. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I think I must have started like 2007 to 2006, right around then.
Wow.
But like, so I think back then, like when I was starting, like jiu-jitsu is still fresh, right?
Yeah.
It's still pretty fresh in the Americas, like in North America.
Yeah, like UFC hasn't even taken off really in 2006, 2007.
No, it was just about to.
Yeah, like the Ultimate Fighter just started. Yeah. Like it was far from mainstream. Mm-hmm. Like so, unless like you were like die hard into it before, like when it was like Hoist Gracie, then you would probably never even know what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is.
No,
like Taekwondo was probably the big thing back then.
And now that you're triggering a lot of memories now. So, but like Justin was still brown belt when I was started. Like I remember Justin getting his black belt. Justin and Todd getting their black belts like at the old gym. Like, when I was there.
And if they were the owners, right?
Justin was the owner.
Who gave them the black belts? How did that
work? Mauricio Moriano,
the same guy who is like, I don't want to say the head of ABJJ, but like that's who they're under. Is that right?
I believe I'm disconnected from their situation, but like I think they still have Mauricio come up every year, to do.
That's the name pronunciation. Like I've seen the name written on the wall and like in their logo, but the pronunciation of it is
I butcher it. I think every time, but Tinjinha.
I think it's the same guy.
Is him? Yeah, Spider Guard is his big thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And he gave me my black belt as well, and Jerry his black belts as well.
Okay, because you guys obviously were black belts at ABJJ, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you guys branched off to start. Didn't start AGA, but took over.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened in between, but so we started training over at AGA. I had stopped training for almost a year when, well, probably like I would say 7 or 8 months when Tristan got pregnant.
Okay. Just to deal like help with the pregnancy, or
it was COVID times, so she was pretty nervous about getting COVID while she was pregnant, and she was already massively sick throughout her pregnancy. So she was like,
was it sick due to the pregnancy or just like underlying issues?
I think so, like nausea and just like the pregnancy stuff. Okay. But it was pretty extreme for her, for her sickness.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was that. She was nervous about it. So I was like, yeah, it's okay. I'll just work out for a while.
Yeah.
So I worked out and gained like 20 pounds, got up to like 200 pounds while she was pregnant.
Was it a good 20 pounds or was it
no, it was bad.
Sympathy 20 pounds?
Real bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I have our wedding. We got married like a month before Dia was born, and I am 200 pounds and look like I'm 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Like
what made you guys want to get married while she was still pregnant and like not wait? Like I assume like most like girls would want to like wait until after like the pregnancy to like kind of get back into like the pre-pregnancy shape, or they want to do it before they're showing. Not like
that's probably true, but
not at the peak
I think
of
I
pregnancy.
had proposed like when she was about 5 months along or 4 months along.
Yeah.
Maybe a little earlier than that, but like after she had gotten pregnant, I had actually formally proposed, and then so we just wanted to get it. It was extremely small. It was us and a pastor. So
yeah, where did you guys do it at?
At my mom's house in Eagle River. So it's still wintertime, so there's still snow everywhere.
You guys have like family there or anything like that,
no,
or is it
it's
just
literally just me, Tristan, and a pastor there, and a photographer.
Okay, what made you guys get a pastor and not just like have like the mom sign up on? Because they can just like go and get the like a temporary little deal to do the vows and all that, can't they?
Yeah, I'm sure, but we just wanted like an actual
something
formal pastor
traditional
to be there. Yeah.
Okay. You guys both religious or?
Oh yeah, we both go to church. Like,
okay. Every Sunday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think the community is important. I think just like it's a good.
Yeah.
Definitely a good thing.
And then, have you been religious your whole life?
Yeah, I would say. I wouldn't say actually religious. I would say like I had always been going to church as a kid, but never like connecting.
It's probably
like,
hard as a kid to like really connect. Like it's just a routine. You're just there.
That's right.
Like you don't really know
if it's not involved in your house, then you don't like really.
Especially, and then it's not even like voluntary at the time. Like I said, it's just a routine. Like once you get older and like out of the house, like it becomes voluntary.
That's right.
That's probably like when it really kicks in.
Yeah.
That like to be at least have like that religious outlook. Mm-hmm. Just like I said, like if it's not voluntary, it's probably just the biggest thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, but like even as a kid, you were going, and the same place you guys go now?
No, we were going to a Methodist church in Eagle River.
Okay,
larger one.
Yeah. So you branched off at ABJJ during COVID, or was it just something before or after then that made you want to? And did you guys all branch off at the same time? Because all three of you guys, it's Brandon, you, Jerry, and Josh, right? Are kind of like the head instructors.
Mm-hmm. And James Marchetti.
Yeah.
He's, I wouldn't say, he's one of the instructors, but like one of our core members.
Yep. But like I kind of, and I could have just a completely wrong outlook on this.
Sure.
Like I kind of just visualize, or like when I think about it, you, Brandon, and Jerry as like the head instructors. But like I guess Josh Jukes, like he's like the MMA guy. Mm-hmm. But jiu-jitsu speaking, you, Jerry, and Brandon, and you guys all three came from ABJJ, right?
Brandon got his black. I guess he did get his black belt from ABJJ, but yeah, he trained mostly at Gracie Baja, I guess, until he was a brown belt.
Okay.
But then, he had gotten his black belt through ABJJ. So yeah, I would say that's where we primarily trained.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I trained.
Yeah.
At least for Jerry came to ABJJ as a purple belt.
But was that when he moved here?
Yeah, when he moved here.
Okay.
God, where was he training before? Like, I want to say he was also training he trained a little bit at Gracie Baja before that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. He probably said it on here, but that was like one of the early episodes. I probably completely forgot about it. And then, but you went white to black through ABJJ. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what made you branch off from ABJJ?
That's a long story. And I don't know if I want to get into all the specific details, but so I had ended up starting a gym in Eagle River, actually.
You did, yeah.
So
Eagle River
I started
right?
Eagle River Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. Was that under ABJJ? Like affiliate?
We were affiliated.
Okay.
But we hadn't, it wasn't like a formal, like, affiliation, like when we started.
Yeah.
So we had started Eagle River Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and had done that for a while. And then that had a disagreement with my business partner at the time, Christopher Brennan, and we split that. Mm-hmm. And that was right at COVID time.
Okay.
And then Tristan pregnant, and then so I was like, I'm taking a break for a while.
Yeah.
So I took like 8 months off, and then eventually went back and started training again at AGA after that.
And then that was when Grant owned it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so the Eagle River Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is that in the same spot that the Sword is now? Like
no.
Okay.
It was down the street. It was at, there's a plaza with a Jalapenos restaurant that's in it. And like a salon, and then there was a unit there, like a 1,200 square foot, 1,100 square foot unit that's right there. And that's where it was originally.
Okay. And then did that just change after COVID started? And then, you weren't a part of it when that change happened, right? The location change.
The location change, no. The Sword is a different entity than Eagle River Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was. Okay. Like, so it's that gym is gone. Like that organization's gone. So then you started the new one, like the Sword, down the street at that other plaza.
Yeah. And so then you took the break, went to AGA, and started training with Grant over there. Mm-hmm. Was that in the no, it wasn't international, but it's Minnesota, like right by Sydney Diner? Or was it still on Boniface?
AGA was over on Boniface.
Still on Boniface.
Like, that's Grant. That's where, at the old location where Grant was.
Yeah.
I mean, jiu-jitsu is like, and that's, the old place the legacy was. Like, jiu-jitsu is a tangled web of, interpersonal relationships.
Especially in such, like, a small community.
So, yeah. It just kind of makes it kind of a funny thing. Everything is so, like, interconnected and, like, interbred within.
Yeah. And the more people I talk to, like, I definitely find that out. It's just, like, everyone at some point's kind of trained with everyone or been in the gym and had some past connection with someone else I've talked to.
Yeah, I think just like with the egos that are involved with jiu-jitsu, like inevitably, like there's conflicts of people. So I think that just inevitably, I mean, like look at all the things we just said. Like Justin, Todd, and Ryder split off from Gracie Baja.
Yeah.
Legacy Jiu-Jitsu split off from Gracie Baja.
Yeah.
Grant had started his new gym at the old location that Gracie Baja was in. Yeah. Like me and Chris split off from ABJJ and did Eagle River. We had a disagreement. He had the Sword. Yeah. And so you see, it's just, it's there's a constant, like, there's that kind of, it's pretty consistent with, and that's consistent with jiu-jitsu gyms all around the world, right? Like the Gracies have split off from each other a dozen times. It's just kind of like, I think that's one of the aspects of jiu-jitsu is that there is that I would call it ego that's in a lot of places that just kind of precipitates that kind of thing.
And even though, like, I don't know, I want to say like a lot of gyms or like something like one of like those cliche things you hear is like the egos at the door thing and like the ego, like no egos on the mat type of thing. Mm-hmm. But it's totally not true.
It's absolutely not true.
Like to some degree, like you have to have an ego to do jiu-jitsu. Like if you didn't, like you would just submit and lose every round. Like you have to have something in you that's gonna like kind of push. And whether like it's just like that minimum ego that's just making you good at like jiu-jitsu and rolling and having good outcomes, or it's like way higher in that spectrum of an ego to where like I don't even like it here. We're gonna start our own thing.
Yeah, I think that. Well, like here, actually, here I have a question for you. Like, they'll kind of enunciate this.
We'll edit this out, though.
What is the most important thing in the gym for you?
Did Roger send you here?
No.
I feel like this is a test.
No. Man, there's no test. This is no test. Like, and there's no one answer. But for you,
definitely. Like, and that's like
what's the most important
thing? I actually think about this. It's probably just the atmosphere for me. because I'm never going to be like a world champion or even trained to be a world champion or maybe ever like even trained to compete again. So like I don't need like some like hard-nosed partners who are going to push me to the limit. Like I'm like mid-30s with every bad joint in the body. Like I literally just want to like have fun and like be in a good atmosphere with people I like. So for atmosphere for me would be the big one. But like you said, like there's no right answer to that. Like someone who is trained to be a world champion is one, they're probably still going to want the atmosphere. Everyone should want a good atmosphere. We'll put it that way. But there's other things that are going to go along, like if you're trained to be a world champion or like a ADCC champion or something like that, like you're going to have to like probably get over some people with some egos and maybe a little bit of a bad atmosphere in some aspects, just to get like that training you really need, especially like in a small community like this. Like you only have really 3 options nearby for an Eagle River, which depending where you live, like for me it's nearby, just as close as any other gym. But even then, like it's not a huge option. And then like times of the day and all that. So I said, like depending where you live, like you're going to have to give up that atmosphere a little bit if you were serious about it. But yeah, what's the main thing for you?
So I would say my answer would be the same. Like is the atmosphere. Like the feeling inside of the gym to me is more important than, and for me, like that's past like what is being taught, past like training partners, past like I think good training partners come from a good atmosphere, but like past like people pushing me or competitive experience or like whatever. All of those things to me don't matter, like besides how good the atmosphere is when I enter the gym and how I feel entering the gym, like as being okay, this is my place around the people that I like to train with. Like I'm happy being here. And I think that having that atmosphere from the lowest level to the highest level is really what is the most important thing, like for me at a gym. And I think that's why you see all of these gyms that eventually split off, because people have different opinions and different things that they want from the gym, and that is not necessarily being met at the gym that they're at. So you're at a gym, you feel like you're not being appreciated, or you don't like that it's not competitive enough. It's not this, it's not that, it's not this, it's not that, and then that leads to these split offs that happen. That's what I think is is the primary reason that you see it so commonly in the overall Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community. And up here is no different.
No, definitely not. I'd say also like you guys have like one of the best atmospheres to be in. Like just like walking in the doors, and this was even like when Grant owned it. Like and it's probably maybe just a group of people that attracts, or maybe just who's at the top of the gym. But like the atmosphere, like I walked in, like it's always been great. And like the competitiveness too, like this might come off bad, but it might not. It's not meant to. Like the level of people overall, like there might be like a lot lower level of people, but being the new gym, I think it's going to attract newer people that aren't necessarily like Legacy they've been built for quite a while now, so like the people that are there, they've been in there for a while, so like obviously like their level's increasing with the gym. And ABJJ also, like they've been like a dominant jiu-jitsu gym in here a long time, so like they have such a structure of people to where AGA, it's like the newest gym in town. I think there might be like a smaller gym called Crazy Monkey or something, but it's the newest gym in town, so like I feel like it attracts like even newer people than like the Legacy or the ABJJ, which I'm sure are getting like new members all the time also. But just the people in there, so like they have everyone from like just new people who are just doing it for like a complete hobby, and then they have like like the mid-tier guys like James and Christina, and those are just examples. Obviously I'm not trying to put them down or anything, but then there's like also like you and Brandon and Jerry, and there's killers on the mat. At like every open mat, there's such like a wide range of people who it clearly seems like they're kind of just there to have fun and spread jiu-jitsu, to where like you maybe go to like a other gym like and again, this isn't to put anyone down, like Legacy, like I feel like it's a lot more of like we're gonna roll hard culture, and more of like a nogi vibe, which I love. And then ABJJ is like also has like when I go to their open mats, like it's we're gonna roll hard and like they're great, you know, and but more of like a gi culture, to where AGA seems like it's more of a mix between the two, and it just gives off the vibe that I like more of like we're just here to have a good time and do jiu-jitsu, and just a lot less ego involved, I feel like, at AGA.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I think so too, and with that that different competitive experiences, like with the different gyms, like you also have there's a bigger pool of people who all have different things that they're training for. So you have the guys who are training for MMA or training for competition, whatever, at these bigger gyms, and so I can see it like they want to train that way, like because they feel like that's their best way of getting better and advancing their games, advancing their jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I disagree, but I think that, I don't think that you should train like that to truly get better faster. Yeah. Get better and advance faster. I don't think that's the way to train.
I'd love to get into that, because you know, like I'm not like a beginner. Like I've been doing it probably a relatively short time, especially compared to like a lot of people, maybe like other brown belts and you know, especially black belts. Like you've almost been doing it for 20 years, to where like I'm 6 years in, maybe 7 to 8 if you combine like the stuff, you know, 14 years ago,
2008.
Yeah. But like it's still, and you know, I've been at Legacy since I started, and like just the morning classes, and there's always been like really great guys there that's pushed me. And then like I go to other open mats too, and whether you go to like, if I train at Legacy and I go to like ABJJ open mat, like, and this isn't like a negative thing, but like if you see someone else coming from a different gym and like maybe they're higher ranked or this, like you want to give them a good run, right?
There's a little bit of a target on your back.
There is a target, yep. And then AGA, not so much, especially now. And like I said, that's one of the reasons I like the atmosphere. I don't have to come in and like worry about a target on my back. And I also feel like I go there enough, not lately, but I go there enough that like I'm known enough there that it's not like it's just the Legacy guy coming in or this guy coming in. So it makes it easy, and ABJ was kind of getting to that point too, but I've been taking some time off of open mats, just it's injuries and trying to heal some stuff. But I don't remember where I was going with that.
So I think we were at the atmosphere, like of the different gyms, but like so I agree with you, like our atmosphere, like that we try to cultivate is like that even atmosphere, to where like my biggest thing is I want like I want like our least advanced students to feel like they are at an equal par with me and with like other higher belts, that there's no click or like atmosphere or like kind of like, you know, you're not as good as me because I am a black belt and you are a white belt kind of atmosphere. Like I want everyone to feel welcome and to feel like they are at an equal level at the gym. That's my biggest thing. Like, and if I haven't had to do this ever, but like if somebody was disrupting that atmosphere, I would have no problem with telling them they need to either not do that or
you gotta find somewhere else.
Like
And then so how we got into that was you didn't feel like, you know, doing that like training super hard is the best way to get your jiu-jitsu better. Like how do you, what would you say is like the best way, like in your mind?
I love this question. I love like talking about this because I've thought about it for a long time. But so I think that primarily when you're training, you should never go over 70% of your maximum effort. And my reasoning for that is like if you are trying to push yourself to that 100% level and you're trying to go exactly as hard as you possibly can, you're going to probably get hurt more. Like you see it with guys like I mean, everybody knows them, the guys around the gyms who are like just around the gym who go that hard and are constantly injured. Like
I'm constantly injured.
I don't know if that's because you're going super, super hard though.
So I do try to keep it at like that 70% though. Like if I go and like roll with you guys, like it's never like a death roll. It's like, it's probably around like 70%. Like you're rolling hard, but not too hard. You still can't use really good technique.
That's right.
And like that's where like that perfect balance is for me. But then like you said, like there are the gyms or the people. We'll just say people that they do want to roll like 90 to 100%.
Everyone knows who they are at the gym.
Yeah. And whether they're like
everyone does,
and whether they're like a white belt all the way to like brown or black,
up to black belt, like like literally every level. Like there are those guys who will go who every round is like 1,000%.
Yeah.
And more often than not, those are the guys who are like, I have a bum this or a bum that or a hurt or they end up getting hurt.
And I think
more often than not,
my biggest problem before was and like I don't think I was ever that person to like want to roll 100%, just because like I said, like my goal for jiu-jitsu isn't to like be some great competitor to where you're going to like necessarily roll 100% at those times. It's just to have fun and be in a good atmosphere and maybe spread what I know and listen to what other people know. But I never had a problem, and I never had a problem saying no to those people who did want to roll 100%.
Right.
So, and maybe I still didn't roll 100%, but if you're rolling with someone who is rolling 100%, like
you have to defend yourself.
Yeah, you're still going to get like those carried over injuries that like they're probably suffering just because like, well, at 70%, I can make sure like my leg doesn't bend that way.
Yeah.
Or I can make sure like you're not cranking on my neck. I have to defend some guillotine that's like pinching every nerve now. But like if they are, like I said, you're going to get those injuries still.
Yeah.
And that was my problem. And like I think that's why I'm suffering so much now. Like right now, I went to one of the last classes I went to. Like I had someone like we were doing a situational, and they ended up like just cranking on my neck after like. The situation was like you start in mount. If you get to half guard, it's a win. So you don't, stay in a situational for 5 minutes, right? And so like I was like, all right, well, Shrimp got to half guard, and he just like hugged the headlock. And I'm like, well, all right, we'll keep going, I guess. And even now, I still suffer from that. Like, no, that's over. I could have just been like, just tap him like it was over. Yeah. Like I'll tap and whatever.
But squeezing my vertebrae, I'm done.
And then so even like, and that was, I want to say when it's maybe like a Tuesday, last Tuesday. And even like tonight or last night, like I'm sleeping. If I sleep wrong, I like put my arms up, like my arms go numb. Like I'm just suffering from like this pinched nerve now on top of like other injuries to like from rolling, like probably with people like that or just pushing it too much and not taking that break when I do have this pinched nerve or this bum knee or doing that. But man, like it's, like I said, like I never like want to be that person to roll super hard, but I never had the problem of, saying no to them. Or no, I had the problem of not saying no to them. So I'd suffer all these injuries, and now I'm just walking around just like brittle and like 2 bad knees and bad hips and just everything.
Do you lift?
I started lifting. Right now it's probably only like twice a week. And I might have like been talking like when I first started lifting, was talking to like you and Jerry about it. And then like just big proponents on like you should lift and do this. And then like with the bad knees, like squats are really hard, but then I found a good way around it of like, so now I don't do anything over my body weight. And when I first got into it, just because like the knees, like I put that bench underneath so I could do like a box squat. So I didn't have to worry about going like, below parallel, because if I went parallel, something in my left knee would click. And so even if like nothing like physically happened, like you felt it and mentally you're like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah.
So I started using like a box squat. And then for a while, like I wouldn't do anything over 100 pounds. And like, we're just going to get this going and get like everything working again.
Right. Strengthen things.
And
get
then,
form good.
So now I got to the point where I can do everything in body weight. Or not, at least not over body weight. Like, but squats, like I'll just do body weight and I don't feel the need to like put everything on it or bench or anything like that. I mean, even deadlifts, like, I just do 170 pounds and I'll just do a bunch of reps of that. And then I'll do like, try to do like some more like dynamic lifts, like CrossFit type lifts, like overhead squats or like power cleans. And then even then, like anything overhead, like I just won't do anything over 100 just because just only like control and stuff like that. But obviously like with the Alaska Club membership, I assume have like a lifting regimen, or at least you go in there and do some stuff.
I wouldn't say regimen, but like I've tried to stick to like the basic lifts, like squats, deadlift, bench press, and I'll usually stick to only one muscle group. So if I do squats, I'll do squats, and then I'll do like the leg, actually it's the leg curl machine and the leg extension machine. And for your knees, I would definitely recommend those.
I wish. So what I was looking into, not even looking into, I just saw it online one day, and they're like some things you can put on your feet, but with dumbbells, and so you don't have to have the actual machine.
Yeah.
So something you just get at home. I felt like that'd be a great idea. Cause mostly, like you said, with the knees, I need something to directly kind of work those groups. And squats, only do so much.
Yeah.
Though I do feel like my knees got a lot better after doing squats, just I could strengthen the muscles around it, doing squats and calf raises. So do 10 squats, and then before you rack it, I just do 10 calf raises. I felt like that's helped a lot. Especially after the partial tear in the LCL on my left leg, and everything was going really good. But then, maybe 2 Fridays ago now, I had, or it might have been last Friday, but I buckled and hyperextended my right knee, which used to be the bad knee, and then the tear happened. This was the bad knee, but they've always been bad. So now they just bounce back and forth to which one's the worst on which week. So now it's just, and I don't think I've really lifted since then.
Extensions and curls.
That's what I need to get into.
Strengthen your tendons, strengthen your the muscles around there.
Yeah. I need to look into something to get that, or what I can do at home, without buying a whole other machine. Because right now all we have is that bench, which obviously isn't attached to anything. You can move it around, and then I have just a kind of a cheap squat rack. So, but it does everything I need to, except target what I really need to. So I need to find something I can do, whether I can find a little bands. Contraption.
You could do bands, foot on your feet.
Oh, yeah.
Attached to your chair or whatever you're sitting on. And you can do the same thing with
a nice cheap option. That's what I need.
You could do the same thing with on your stomach with to curl your leg, right?
Yeah. Still just connected to a chair or something fixed.
Yeah, away from you.
Yeah.
To the wall or something.
That. That's a nice cheap option. Before, I think what are we at, 50 minutes right now? Yeah. So what I do want to get into is the tournaments you guys are putting on.
Yeah.
Because I love those. Because obviously Alaska, and if you've been in the jiu-jitsu scene for really any amount of time over the last, say, year, there was really only 2 tournaments. And
there's been a couple of little tournaments
here and there, right? But not constant.
Nothing
ones.
Constant and nothing yearly or nothing.
And that's the problem. The only yearly ones was the state tournaments put on by ABJJ, which are great, but if you want to compete, I've told people, when I do something, I'm either 100% in or 100% out. Jiu-jitsu, you can be 100%. You could train every day of the week. Maybe you shouldn't, because you'll walk around brittle and broken.
Yeah.
But you can, if you had that mindset. If you wanted to compete, you're so isolated from everybody else, the lower 48s, to where you can drive somewhere every month, and compete. But here, it was every 6 months. Unless someone put on a little one, a few years ago, I want to say 4 years ago, probably, or maybe 5. There was one out in Talkeetna.
I remember that.
There's I think Soldatna put on a small tournament a couple years ago, but they're not annual tournaments.
No,
that's the problem.
Pioneer did an 8-man bracket.
Yeah,
last year I think they did an 8-man bracket.
So. And that's the problem. You can't be all in. I never wanted to necessarily compete because you couldn't compete regularly.
And then even worse so is for tournaments that are these IBJFF style tournaments and where you do your tournament, you show up hours before you're going to go because you don't know when you're going to go, and so you do your thing, you warm up, and then you lose by a ref's decision. Yeah. And then you're okay, that's it. Unless I want to do the absolute and fight guys who may be way bigger than me. Yeah. And could get injured for no reason. Yeah. So I'm going to spend my $100, go wait around. That's right. And then possibly be out in one match. That's right. And so I think that is unfortunate. That is the tournament structure that is most used and most commonly pushed out there. I think that the way that we did our tournaments, so the way that we're kind of refining our tournament structure is all round robin brackets, which if you ever do a grappling industries, they do the same thing. They do round robin brackets, 4-man round robin brackets. And I think that that's so much better than a actual tournament, elimination style like structure for like competitive experience, for competitive integrity, because you don't have a guy who just has a nice draw, right? Like down your match to win it. And I think it's just so much better for like competitively. But even beyond that, like if other gyms, like if there was like if other gyms were doing like 1 or 2 of these every year, we'd have basically a competition every month,
almost every month. And that would be ideal for everybody.
For everybody, like the whole community would benefit immensely, like from that kind of opportunities to people.
So with you guys, you guys have put on the women's tournament, which and
this is our second one. Well, not technically our second one. This is our first one. Grant did one of women's tournament a couple years ago before he was done, and then this one was the first one at the new gym, at the new AGA.
Yeah, and like I said, great. It was a great turnout. Then you guys put on a nice in-house tournament, which I love those too. Especially like if you don't want to open it up to everybody. And Legacy's put on some good in-house tournaments also. But what I would like to see is from like the other gyms. And ABJJ will just say like they're kind of doing their part, putting on the 2 state tournaments. So like they're putting on 2 tournaments a year. Legacy's put on in-house tournaments. You guys have put on.
My only criticism of the state tournaments would be that the cost is too much, and and I don't like the structure. Like the structure is just the elimination style.
You know what I would like to see, because like there with that many people signing up, and I'm sure like the amount of people vary, but it would be nice to have like a double elimination, something like that. Or you had like in wrestling they have. I don't remember what it's called right now.
Double elimination.
Yeah, but you get to come back and fight your way back up.
A loser's bracket. So you have your winner's bracket, and then whoever loses out of the winner's bracket goes down to the bottom bracket.
I don't remember what they call that bracket.
I think it's loser's bracket.
No, they have a nicer term for it.
Maybe.
But that is essentially exactly what it is. So that would be nice to have, just because like you are spending $100. Or it might be 90, but it might be 100 and 110 if you want to do the absolute.
Pretty sure that's the cost still.
But to spend that much and possibly get put out in one, like it would be nice to be like, because I suck at competing, so like it would be nice to be like, all right, we got that first really sucky match out of the way, which I say that. But at the same time, like I suck at competing, but I only do good the first match. If I have a second match, it's going downhill real quick. And if the first match goes over 3 minutes or 2 minutes, it's going downhill real quick. But it would be nice for like the people who maybe have like to warm up and like get all those jitters out to be able to come back and fight their way back up, or at least just get a second match. And even if they lose it, like at least you got 2 matches.
Even if you lose it, you get the competitive experience.
Yeah,
like and that's really like with what you're saying is like you don't perform your best at your first match.
Yeah.
How could you when you don't have the experience to do it?
Yeah, so if you
unless you've already been like competing in other things.
Yeah, and up here you're probably not, at least at the moment. Unless like you're jumping into like these smaller tournaments that like gyms are kind of just putting on in-house, whether it's just in-house tournament and you're only allowing like your own people to show up, which is great. It's 100% better than nothing. Or you're like doing what you guys are doing, or what Pioneer's done and Soldaten's done, to where they're opening it up to other people and you can come in and do something.
Like I said, I hope that like my biggest hope would be that more of those kind of like start happening in town, and people participate in them. Like we had participation from literally every gym in the state at this last men's tournament, from
Fairbanks to Juneau. Well, I don't think Juneau got to come up because a volcano erupted.
Yes, like
but they were going to.
But they were going to. Like and so and they were at the women's tournament, they were here.
Yeah.
Like so it's like you have the people who want to do it.
Yeah.
So I would strongly encourage the gyms to just do it.
Yeah.
Again, I love doing these tournaments and we're going to keep doing them.
Nice.
But it's a lot of for us, it's a lot of preparation, and we don't really have like a ton of space to do it.
Yeah.
Like other gyms could do these at a much. It would be a much less. It would be a smaller endeavor for a lot of for like Legacy or ABJJ to put on an in-house
Legacy
tournament.
could put on like, man,
they could have 5 matches going.
So many, because 2 rooms, and same with ABJJ.
5 matches. Just have your tournament be sub only, and have 5 matches going at once, so your refs can just be like, meh, I'm just here to stand around and make sure you guys don't run into anyone.
And even then, like, you'd breeze through it, like with that many matches going on at a time. And like I said, because they have, each of those gyms have 2 different rooms. So like, yeah, it would be great. And like I said, hopefully they do start doing it and get on board with it. Like, at a minimum, like, just in-house tournaments, like, put it on for your guys, but do something so like at least your guys can get this experience, because you're not going to get experience if you go into the state tournament. You're not going to get great experience, we'll say, if you go into the state tournament and lose your first match every time you sign up. Like, you're literally getting 0 experience. You're not even getting past like the first match of jitters, like, and see how you even feel in the second match.
Absolutely.
And you could feel 100% different.
I mean, I did the tournaments like all the way up until I was a brown belt. I was did I do it at brown? I can't remember if I actually did one at brown. I think I did, though. Brown and purple. Like, I was still doing the tournaments. And did every single one. And like, there were those tournaments where you lose the first match by an advantage or nothing. And then you're just like, well, now what do I do? Like,
and I'm sure that would leave like a sour taste in the mouth too. But my first tournament, I signed up for as a white belt, and I think I competed at just white belt, and I didn't compete again until brown belt. But again, like, I was just never really wanted to compete. It was just never in me. Like, I competed at a younger age in like MMA and stuff like that. So like, I think I have that competitiveness, like, urge is just kind of out of me now. But like, I competed at white belt, and like, I didn't even get to a decision. Like, I got to decision 1 time, and that was in the no-gi tournament. But the gi tournament, like, I got subbed in the first round. And then like, so I leave after spending like a bunch of money, and I'm there for a good part of the morning, because he was competing too at the time. So you're there at the first kids match all the way until yours. And at a white belt, like, I'm pretty sure they competed last. So like, I'm there all day. And it was just like such a bummer for me then to lose like by submission, and like, so immediately. And I was like, man, and that might have been like part of it too. Like, well, I just don't want to do it again.
It just feels like, it's a terrible feeling.
But what I would love is if a gym put on like, just, it'd be really fun is, and you see it like on Flow Grappling sometimes, or maybe YouTube when it gets on there, but some gyms will put on like a weekly or even a monthly tournament, like, even if it was just in-house, but it's just like super fights, just 1 match. You come in and you have 1 match.
I have seen those. Yeah, those
that
are
would
cool.
be. I think that would be like my favorite way to go with it. But like the tournament styles too are great too, because for people who want continuous matches and want a handful of matches and get a good experience. Like, if you could get like, the people at your guys' tournaments are getting like 4 matches in, right?
So so the way I think we've kind of like solidified how we're going to do it from now on. I think we're going to do 20 people in the actual bracket. So 4 groups of 5. So everybody gets 4 matches. And then we will, but past that, I think we're going to let anyone sign up. And then if an alternate is needed, we'll put an alternate in for that group. Or we'll do exhibition matches in between the matches that are going. And so we'll just have constantly people getting matches in between matches that are going on.
I think that would be great. And they could combine both. Like, you have the tournament style, then you just have some just like super fights or expedition matches in there, because I have literally the worst cardio. I roll a decent amount. Like, I do a lot of jiu-jitsu.
I don't think jiu-jitsu does anything for your cardio.
Obviously not, because it's horrible. But I'm also too lazy to go run and get that runner's high or anything like that.
Swimming, I think, is the best.
Swimming would be fun.
I've been getting into swimming lately, and I think that's probably the best cardio for me. Like, because no impact, no.
So that would be nice. That's what I needed, like something with no impact. Like, I don't think
get your shoulder rotations in, like, with swimming,
which I totally need.
So good,
because my shoulders are like, they click. There's no flexibility in them. Like, I see those people doing the stretches like with belts or bands, where like they hold it out and like it goes all the way back. Like, mine barely goes straight up overhead, and like, I just need to work on so much stuff. But that would be great, because like I said, like, for someone like me, like, I just want 1 match. And if I could have like 1 match every, few months to like even scratch a remote urge I have.
Yes.
I have no real urge because the thought of doing even 2 matches, I'm just like, oh, fuck, that sounds horrible. And then, like, so, like, the tournament you guys are putting on, like, which I love watching and supporting all that. But the thought of having 4 matches at a minimum, I'm like, whoo, boy.
Man, I'd be in for it.
I'd
be in for it. I might do our next one just because. Yeah. But yeah, like, good. I think it's fun. Yeah.
It's so fun.
Just get in there.
And even, like, for me, I don't want to go doing a handful of matches, but I don't mind going and watching other people do it. Like, I still have tons of fun just watching.
Yeah.
And especially you guys are putting on for charity.
It was great. I mean, we almost made like $1,500 for this last one, and like $1,500 for the women's tournament. Yeah. So like this year we've put $3,000 into charity now. Yeah. So it's super rad, and I think that kind of takes away a little bit of the ego that is like, this is just a charity thing.
I think it does. Yeah.
Just have a good time.
The in-house tournament, and like I said, whether it's just in-house for your own people or it's like an in-house tournament for like all the gyms in town to come to or open to, it is a different atmosphere than like that big state tournament. Like the ego does drop off quite a bit more, and it might just be the environment you're in.
One thing that you don't like, so at the big tournaments, like you hear people yelling things that I don't think that you would ever hear them yell, like in a more intimate atmosphere.
Probably,
like,
and it probably does have to do with that intimate atmosphere too.
So then there is that. It's a smaller room, like you can literally see everyone who is speaking. Yeah, like at our tournaments, everybody has been super cool. Like there's been zero of that. Like no problems with that. You don't hear rip it off or just just break it. Yeah, none of that.
So like I love what you guys are doing, and like just the fact you guys are going to continue doing it and putting it on, because I think it's been like every 3 months at the moment. We did
the women's tournament in January, end of February, January, and then we just did the men's tournament 3 weeks ago.
And then you put on the one for the in-house, just like your own guys for the white and blue belts.
Yeah.
But same thing, like it's nice because it gets those, because maybe like those guys don't want to sign up for a tournament that possibly like a brown belt from Juneau or someone like unknown's going to come to. It's just like, I want to get competitive experience, but I want to do it in a lot easier of a setting,
right?
Like
less pressure,
and because that's a big thing, like how are you going to do when there's 1,500 people there and multiple matches going at a time, and you have so many matches to get through. Like, I'd rather get my toes wet and see how I'm going to do, just ramping it up a little bit against my buddy who I train with every day. So like I said, like what you guys are doing is great. I can't wait for like other gyms to hop on, and hopefully do.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping other gyms hop on.
And like I said, like, and even if that was just like the other gyms putting it on, like just super fights once a month for your own guys, but just doing something is just going to help it grow even more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I think we're a little over an hour. So you want to tell people where they can find you, get info on the gym, any classes that you're teaching, if they want to come and take your classes?
I don't teach any classes. Like I
thought you taught the morning classes.
I teach the morning classes. You're right. I teach at 6 a.m. on Monday and Friday. But I'm mostly doing it's all no-gi, like in the morning, Monday and Friday.
Good for you guys.
I don't want to put on a gi at 6 in the morning.
I'm with you. I don't want to put on a gi ever.
So yeah, I'm mostly doing like most of the back end stuff for the gym, finances and things like that. So,
but if they want info, on the gym.
I don't have that. I don't have that stuff pulled in my brain.
Well, you guys are on Facebook and Instagram.
We have a website, Anchorage Grappling Co-op.com. We are on Facebook and Instagram.
And YouTube, right? You guys are putting on we have weekly, right?
We have a YouTube account, so it's mostly for our instructors, but anyone it's a public YouTube account. Yeah. So Anchorage Grappling Co-op, and it just has our moves of the week that we put on there. Yeah. So that's actually an interesting thing. We videotape our moves of the week, like every month or so, like get a set of moves that we're going to do for the next few weeks, just so everybody, all of our instructors are on the same page of like what we're teaching, what we're showing.
And then what you guys are showing on YouTube is the same thing you guys are showing like in the classes?
Mostly, but like, with the instructor flair or like instructor, like whatever they're going to add to it, like they can add different moves like around it. It's just kind of like gives you a good baseline for what we're going to show.
Yeah.
I think.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been really successful so far.
Good.
Just kind of keeps us all on the same page and just able to just have that reference like for different students to look at.
Yeah. Well, it's great. So yeah, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, you can find it. And you guys are open every day of the week. There's open mats on Saturday and Sunday, and then everything from MMA to jiu-jitsu. So yeah, check them out. If you're new, you're looking into it, or if you just want to hop in on an open mat on a Saturday or Sunday at noon, go find them. They're off 68th, right?
Yeah, Quest Business Park. If you ever do the mini golf,
yeah,
it's in that same plaza, 68th, and I can't remember the address now. Yeah, but the Quest Business Park,
all the way at the end of 68th off of Seward. So go check them out, and then of course you can find the podcast on YouTube and Spotify at the Mediocre Grappler Podcast, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at the Mediocre Grappler or Mark A. Robinson II. All right, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, no problem, Mark. Thank you.